Next, I'd like to try out a tool that we haven't had a chance to look at yet, but it's kind of a fun tool and it has a lot of new features with CS5. And that is our Deco tool. It's kind of a pencil with a few dots on the end of it here. And it's an interesting tool because it's actually a whole bunch of tools in one. Right at the top, it has a drawing effect, and if I pull that down, you can see a lot of different types of brushes that are dropped into this one. And these are basically kind of a special effect brush. The one I want to use is all the way at the bottom here, and it's called the tree brush. Now, it has some basic settings about branch color, leaf color, and fruit, and also some scale settings, and they've got some presets built into it so that you can select certain kinds of trees and just go ahead and draw them. I'm going to leave it at the default settings right now, and in order to use this, the first thing we'll want to do is, like always, let's make a layer for our new artwork. I'll go right up to the top and add a new layer. I'll name it Trees. And we'll pull that layer down so it's underneath the sun layer but on top of the valley layer. Then we'll go over and just select our Art Deco tool. It's already set to the tree brush, so I'm just going to go over to my valley and I'll click and drag up a little bit. Now you can see this tree kind of randomly creates, and that's the whole idea. It's actually creating leaves and branches based on the options that are set up in the tool palette. So you can quickly create something that looks kind of natural without having to draw all kinds of things in there. It certainly is a quick way to draw a tree though. Let's go over to our normal selection tool and let's see what it made. If we click on some of the pieces here, we can see that each one has been grouped together, and there's actually a whole bunch of them. So it's a good thing we put it all into a layer by itself. Now I'd actually like to use this tree and copy it a few different times, but there's so much detail in here that if I copy and paste it, I'll start making my file a little bit bigger. And we don't want that. Our Flash files are naturally small because of the vector drawing that we're doing. But using one other feature of the program, we can make sure to keep things small. And that's a thing called symbols. A symbol is a reusable object inside the program. You can use it as many times as you want, just like the bitmap graphic that we used before. And it's going to go in the library just like the bitmap graphic did as well. To create a symbol, the first thing we need to do is select all the parts. Now that's going to be kind of easy for us because we put everything in one layer. So I'm going to go up to the tree layer and just click on the layer. And you can see that it's selecting all those groups that we created with the tree brush. With everything selected, I'll go up to the Modify menu, and I simply choose Convert to Symbol. Our Convert to Symbol command gives us a couple of different options, so let me pull this window down and we can go through them. The first one's a name, and that's just so you can tell it apart from other symbols. I'll just call this one Tree. And then we can move on to Type. We actually have three types of symbols we can create: a movie clip, a button, and a graphic. Movie clip is probably our most powerful symbol with the most settings that we can apply to it. And button, of course, very specifically makes a button. We'll be using it in our last chapters in the series. A graphic symbol is kind of a simple one, so I'm going to stick to movie clips for right now. The last setting we need to think about is a registration setting. This set of dots is actually a selector tool that allows us to pick an origin for our object. You'll notice mine is set to the upper left-hand corner right now. But basically the program's going to draw a bounding box around your object and place that registration point wherever you'd like. The bottom center actually might be good since that's the base of our tree, so I'm going to select that for our tree symbol, and I'm going to click OK. Now the first thing we notice is that our selection just got a little bit simpler, and we can see over in the property window that we have our movie clip, which is our tree movie clip. We'll also go over to our library panel and take a look there, and you can see that our tree has been added to the library. Now, just like before, anything in the library panel is completely reusable without affecting your file size. So if I want to put more trees in this layer, I can simply grab the tree and pull it down into my composition. There we've got a copy of our tree, and we can still do some things to it. Like for instance, I could go and use the free transform tool and make this copy a little bit smaller. If you want to make changes to a symbol object, you can treat it a little bit like a group. Let me switch over to my normal selection tool here, and I'll just double click on this. You can see from the panel that it opens up the tree object, but unlike our groups, this tree is actually connected to this one, and they're both connected to the one in the library. So any changes I make to one of these is going to happen to both of them. We can try out a simple change. I'm going to click on this one branch that's sticking out of the top here, and I'm just going to delete that group. And if you'll notice, that same branch has been removed on our other tree. To get back out of edit mode, I'll just click back on scene 1 or just use the blue back arrow. Symbols, and especially movie clips, are actually a really important part of our Flash movie file, so we'll be seeing a lot more of those in chapters to come. But for now, let's finish out our project.